To our dynamic and respected Dean of College of Education, Dr. Gina Oy Españo, to our indefatigable research professor, Dr. Alona Midalla Cadiz Gabehan, to our respected research coordinator, Dr. Rosabel T. Sablad, to the equally respected panelists, to my co-researchers, a pleasant day to all of you. At this point in time, we will present the summary of findings, results, and discussion of our undergraduate thesis entitled Teachers' Life Experiences in Multilingual Education via Distance Learning. First off, we have the rationale. This qualitative phenomenological study was designed to understand in-depth teachers' life experiences in multilingual education via distance learning. This study provides insights, strategies, and recommendations to the overall experience of the teacher participants working amidst the new learning scheme. Data collection of the methodological process included in-depth face-to-face interview with 7 teachers teaching in grades 1 to 3 at Hinabangan Central Elementary School, during which safety protocols were highly observed. To analyze the data that was gathered from the participants, organizations of data and any demographics collected was made. Also, the data that was sorted into tabular form to utilize the framework for descriptive analysis. The information about the participants' demographics and levels of coding for the 2 sections of this study are presented into tabular form. During the data analysis, 6 themes emerged that were identified from conceptual codes. The themes help to capture the essence of the participants' experiences. The emerging themes identified are the following. Theme 1. Learning materials and other resources inadequacy. According to the teacher participants, distance learning cost them a lot overall. Learning materials and other resources inadequacy is the first challenge they encountered since the implementation of distance learning. The theme implies that learning materials inadequacy is a burden in teaching and learning process amid distance learning that needs to be left up with the help and full support of the educational sectors and the community as well, because teachers can't do this alone. Theme 2. Learners' learning behavioral discrepancies. Another challenge that is apparent to teaching multilingual education during distance learning scheme is the learners' learning behavioral discrepancies. Due to the teaming modular activities and tests, learners tend to lose energy and interest of complying with these different tasks. This implies that teachers are concerned with learners' learning behaviors and somewhat skeptical in their capacity to complete their tasks successfully, or they just copy their answers from others.
Theme 3. Limited teaching learning reinforcement. The participants struggled in finding the right teaching reinforcement as there are limitations in the new normal learning scheme. Limited learning interactivity turned limits in learning outcomes. Teachers are burnt out copying the necessary learning interventions via distance learning. Teacher participants stressed that they struggled and felt stress in giving reinforcement for learners online because many of the specific strategies that teachers use when teaching mother tongue don't translate easily into an online environment.
Theme 4. Changes to level of teaching performance. According to participants, the distance learning scheme has changed the level of teaching performance in multilingual education with the approach of pandemic. Teachers, in general, are not trained for distance learning programs and activities since this is not included in the curriculum of primary and secondary education. All teachers should be prepared in all teaching rules for inclusive education and thus to work with all learners, for students in individualized and close relationships, so that they must play a great role in daily-based work and have face-to-face with them.
Theme 5. Differentiated learning opportunities. According to the teacher participants, varied activities are done to ensure that the learners are learning multilingual education amid new learning scheme. Their responses implies that multilingual teachers are feeling the discrepancies of the learning materials by implementing different strategies like introducing varied activities. This new learning scheme brought them to create a new pedagogical approach that will adhere the needs of the learners.
Theme 6 is parental roles in students' learning. According to the teacher participants, parent supervision plays a vital role in ensuring their children's learning in these new learning modalities. Parental encouragement and support for learning activities at home, combined with parental involvement in schooling, is critical to children's education. However, this involvement intensified even more as the formal learning modalities shifted to the new normal learning scheme. The participants also stressed how the academic knowledge of parents matter on the level of supervision they could provide for their children's home learning.
Theme 7. New Normal Pedagogies. With the seemingly odd situation that both learners and teachers are now facing, it is imperative to utilize properly the new approach in learning. The participants are ensuring that learners are learning from the lesson in multilingual education amid distance learning scheme through monitoring them weekly for a direct assessment. Another method that had come out is the use of social media applications in evaluating how effective the previous ways on the students' learning are. The use of social media platforms such as Facebook and Messengers is a very effective tool in communicating with the students amid distance learning.
Research question number 1. What are the challenges you encountered in teaching multilingualism via distance learning? Based on the teacher participants' responses, challenges in teaching multilingual education via distance learning includes the inadequacy of learning materials, the learner's behavior towards the new learning scheme, and the distance learning itself. The responses suggest that multilingual teachers are burdened with the abrupt changes in education system. The issues in distance learning are brought by the unpreparedness of the teachers and the educational system alike, given the short period of time and the rapid growth of pandemic fear.
Research question number 2. What are the challenges encountered by your students in multilingual education amid distance learning scheme? The result of this study revealed that learners are challenged in multiple ways with multilingual education via distance learning. The teacher participants indicated that various factors caused these challenges that the students encountered in multilingual education. The dominating factors mentioned by the participants is the role of parents and their children's learning at home. Another related finding is that some students can smoothly read Filipino reading tool than those that are in the mother tongue. In addition, the unavailability of mobile devices on some students as a tool for reaching out to their teachers adds up to the challenges mentioned by the participants. Research question number 3. How do you find teaching in multilingual education via distance learning? The findings revealed that teachers' burdens increased due to the complexity of multilingual education, insufficient learning materials, and teachers' workload. Teachers explained that they could not give quality teaching to their pupils via distance learning because not all pupils have gadgets to use for their online class. The teachers find it hard connecting the meanings of the words with the vernaculars.
Research question number 4. Does learners' performance in multilingual education differs from distance learning to classroom learning? In what sense? The result of the study revealed that the learners' performances in multilingual education actually differs from distance learning to classroom learning. It is apparent in their responses that agrees on the idea that learners' performances in distance learning had abruptly changed in a way that first, there are unavoidable things and situations that could distract pupils directly or indirectly at home. Second, pupils tend to get lazy answering their modules, and at the end, parents are the one answering it. And the third, in face-to-face learning, the teacher is able to explain thoroughly the lessons, and chance of gaining it by the pupils is high because it is a face-to-face encounter. Fourth, students just mainly focus on the goal of answering the task and be able to submit it, lacking the sense of constant willingness within them to actually learn. With the available data, it is important to note that in an intensive online context, when there is very little time to acclimate to new tools and operating environments, the ability to successfully communicate, manage technology, deliver, and review materials becomes even more vital. Teachers must also monitor students' progress, clarify concerns on difficulties, and follow up on them to properly assess their learning.
Research question number 5. How do you ensure that learners are learning from multilingual education amid distance learning scheme? The result of this study revealed that teachers ensure that learners are learning from multilingual education via distance learning scheme by monitoring learners through home visitation.
Research question number 6. Do your teaching strategies justify the needs and address the challenges of your learners brought about by the distance learning scheme? Teacher strategies in teaching multilingual education altered as this new modality has many lapses. However, different methods are integrated with this new teaching learning modality. Home visitation is implemented as a new strategy to impart learners multilingual activities.
Recommendations. Based on the findings and conclusions presented, the following recommendations are suggested towards each of these groups. First one, for the teachers. This study prompts several recommendations for educators to enhance and counter the challenges of teaching multilingual education via distance learning and to provide an effective and innovative pedagogies in relation to. Given the context of how the system of education works nowadays, wherein there is a need to acquire the complete knowledge and skills in the framework of TPAC model, this will help teachers intersect their knowledge domains in order to effectively teach and engage students with technology. Along with this, to properly engage the students with the educational use of technology, the teachers need to undergo seminars and trainings to acquire the necessary set of skills, knowledge, attitude, and teaching learners amid distance and online learning. Also, teachers must visit and monitor their learners weekly in their respective homes, but observing proper health guidelines should be implemented. Second, for the parents. The outcome of this study revealed that parents and of the learners play an imperative role in ensuring the complete efficacy of learning. Parents must give their full support system to their children and provide a conducive learning environment for online study of their children. Moreover, parents must cooperate with the teachers and work hand in hand to help and aid the learner towards a productive learning experience. Third, curriculum planners. With the available data from the findings of this study, the researchers strongly suggest that curriculum planners must support efforts to prepare and train teachers to be most efficient and effective in distance teaching and learning situations. Be it guaranteeing that all houses, no matter how remote, have internet connection and gadgets, or offering professional development for teachers in terms of deciding contents as well as the technology required for the delivery, distribution of instructional content and learners' work. According to the interviewed data obtained from this study, distance learning provides a unique opportunity to evaluate alternate educational models, flexible scheduling, and personalized training. Thus, curriculum planners must assess the current pedagogical educational paradigm and make modifications that will improve educational quality while still providing for the flexibility and innovation required in a distance learning environment. The fourth and last one, for future researchers. This study will serve as a launching place for further research and brings up additional questions regarding teachers teaching in multilingual education to multilingual education learners. However, given the relatively small sample used in this study, Researchers, therefore, one recommends to further explore the workplace and locale to gather data from various participants and strengthen the credibility of this study. Furthermore, this study also sheds light on students' challenges and performance in multilingual education via distance learning. Likewise, this study describes the fact that students is the core recipient of the effects of limited teaching learning reinforcement in the inadequacy of learning materials. In this sense, a study based on students' experiences could also add interesting findings in the field of multilingual education via distance learning. Conclusion. The purpose of this research study is to discover about teachers' experiences in teaching multilingual education via distance learning. A phenomenological qualitative approach is used to answer the question concerning the first-hand experiences of teachers on how teachers deal in teaching multilingual education through online learning. The 6 key findings under 2 sections resulted from the comprehensive face-to-face interviews with the participants. The experiences of teachers in teaching multilingual education through distance learning is undeniably different from that of face-to-face learning. And there are presumably existing challenges that both of the teacher and learner are facing. Thus, to ensure the learning of the students in multilingual education, there is a need for a competent online teacher that will adopt new teaching strategies that would justify the needs and address the challenges of learners towards an effective learning experience.